Alright. So, it is time for a review on the HM-01. We have gone through the assembly, and it's got a tiny drip of gas left in it from the last time I ran it. So, I was going to take this all apart and do some tips and tricks for assembly, but I got these flywheels right where I want them, and they're tightened down and it's running, and you can see the gap here is very fine, so I don't actually have a tiny pry bar to fit in there really easily, and I decided not to tear this apart to do an assembly video quick shot. But as you can see, got oil all over it from the smear here. The HM-01 is a beautiful engine. The base is really nice, looks great on it. Of all the engines I have, this is my new favorite. The HM-01 looks really nice and was a lot of fun and works really well, but I think the HM-01 or the HM-01 here outclasses it in a few ways. First of all, got the nice big ball governor out here, so it's a lot more sensitive. And I'm sure I can get this to run a bit slower. We're going to try some more of that. But the assembly, it was a really nice kit. The only issue I had, you'll remember, when I put the crank in, once I tightened my bearing caps up, the crank was completely locked down, and I did have to bore out these caps and on the casting to get that crank to fit and turn. But as you can see, it's got really good compression, and it's spinning really freely now. So yeah, I guess the major tip for assembly is checking these bearing caps and the main bearings when you assemble it to make sure it's nice and free. The other thing I had to do was test which way up on the connecting rod to get it to turn right. If you'll remember, when I assembled that, I had it one way round and it was very tight, but when I turned the rod upside down and tested the cap both directions, I was able to, or the cap only fits one way, sorry. But yeah, it was tight, and when I flipped the rod upside down, because you can see it's got Musa cast in the side of the rod, and that's upside down right now, but that was the way to get it so that the big end didn't clamp. Other features, you remember inside when we found the piston and examined it, there are set screws holding the wrist pin in the piston so it can't rattle side to side and scratch the cylinder liner. And I think that's a really good feature that hopefully will be appearing on a lot of other tiny engines, because all of the ET series and a lot of the other engines, that wrist pin is loose, and so it can rattle side to side and scratch the cylinder liner. This is just fun to turn over. The speed control lever here, I may just be removing this because it stops the governor arm here, but you have to readjust the spray bar needle and the choke to change the mix, because when an engine is running throttled, because it's drawing every stroke, it runs a leaner setting on the needle. On hit and miss, because the engine idles and blows fresh air through the cylinder between firings, you have to set the needle to a richer mixture to make sure that on the single draw it's actually sucking enough fuel up in to fire. So that's why you kind of have to choose one or the other. I do like this feature, this end hole here, so you can adjust the engine, the carburetor, close the main choke here, and that end hole and the needle for wide open operation without overspeeding it. If you leave the extra air intake here, then when you flip it to full speed, it will run away and overspeed the way the ET8 can overspeed, because there's no control on it. This fuel tank, really nice. Test running it. On hit and miss, I had over an hour of operation with just like a third of the height of the glass. So I'm sure that that fuel tank is good for 3 or 4 hours of operation. Obviously the box here, really nice. The one thing is this oiler. This oiler is functional, but I have mine adjusted to the very smallest amount, and it still just runs out really quickly. So you do have to keep track of that. I may look at modifying this oiler to slow it down, but it's still, like, overall just such a beautiful engine. This pulley looks really nice. The exhaust going straight up is a cool feature. But yeah, overall, assembling, running, putting the base on, it's been a great experience, and this is a fantastic model. If you watch the extended cut assembly videos I did, you can see I assembled the whole thing with hand tools, and the only power tools I have are a Dremel and an electric drill, and I could have managed everything with just the Dremel. An electric drill possibly for reaming these caps out. You could use an electric drill with a small dowel and some emery paper wrapped around it to lap on the inside of these spaces. If you watched my full video, you would have seen that I used my Dremel and a grinding stone, and I put the caps on. I just lightly moved the grinding stone with very little pressure around the inside of the caps, and continued testing, deburring, smoothing, testing until the main bearings didn't get locked up when I put the crankshaft in. So yeah, overall, I think the HM-01 is my new favorite. With a little more adjustment, I bet I can get it to start even easier and run even slower. But overall, if you were gonna get an engine The ET1 is still probably the best out of the box. No questions asked. It started right up and worked real well. It's simple to work on, but the HM-01 is definitely my favorite because it's just so pretty and has a lot more accurate scale style features to larger engines. So it has a much more antique look instead of the, clearly stock built modern model engine look of the ET series. The HM-01 is very much looks a lot more like a model of an antique engine. So really enjoyed it, and we will definitely see a lot more of this on my channel.